Circuits are an aspect of physics that are used world round. And because circuits are used all across the world, often people from different languages are sharing circuits and need to be able to understand them. Because of this, circuit diagrams have a very set list of symbols that can be used to draw what the circuit looks like. Circuit diagrams can be relatively simple, like the one you see here on the screen, or can be fairly complicated, like the one you see here. Of note is that both of these circuit diagrams are for radios. Clearly, one is a much simpler radio than the other. One thing to point out before we learn all the symbols is that all of the lines in every single circuit diagram are straight lines, and pretty much all of the corners make 90-degree angles. That's something that's fairly important, no matter how complicated or simple your circuit diagram may be. So let's learn some of these symbols. The first symbol is a straight line, and that's the symbol for a wire. As mentioned before, if we need our wire to bend, it typically bends at a 90-degree angle. One of the other very common symbols is the zigzag symbol you see here. That's the symbol for a resistor. Resistors are used in circuits to provide resistance, or in opposition to the movement of current. The next symbol, which contains two parallel lines, one that's long and one that's short, that's the symbol for a battery. The long line always represents the positive side of a battery, and the short line is the negative side. A hint to remember this is that the long line is the bigger electric potential, and the short line is the smaller electric potential, or lower electric potential. If we have multiple batteries that are connected to each other, we use multiple long and short lines, like you see to the right of the word battery. An example of that might be in your calculator. Your calculator contains 4 batteries, 4 AAA batteries, and those are all 4 connected to each other. So we would draw 4 sets of the battery symbol. The next symbol, which has 2 parallel lines that are the same size, is the symbol for a capacitor. Even if we have a capacitor that's not a parallel plate capacitor, we use this symbol. Another symbol that we'll commonly use in physics class is a circle with kind of a little squiggle on the inside. This is the symbol for a light bulb. And this is actually one device used in circuits that sometimes has a couple of different symbols. Sometimes with a light bulb it'll look like this, with a circle around it as well. The last symbol that we will use in physics class is this one right here, which stands for a switch. The switch is drawn in the open position, which is where it would not connect the components of the circuit. We don't have a complete path with the switch in the open position. But if we drew it in the closed position, then we wouldn't be able to tell that it was a switch. So here's an example of how all of these components might fit together in a circuit diagram. I'm going to draw a very simple circuit here. Starting off with a wire, followed by a battery. Next I'll have a resistor and a light bulb. And over here, let's see, I'll put a switch in. Let's try that again. There we go. And a capacitor. And we'll end the circuit there. That's all of our components. Okay, so we see how all of those things kind of combine together. So we have our battery, our resistor, our light bulb, our capacitor, a switch, and lots of wires. And again, notice that all of my wires make a 90-degree angle. Now, this list is by no means an all-inclusive list. there's probably close to a dozen symbols that we're missing. But these are the things that we'll use in our physics class, the things that we care about knowing to be able to draw. We will later look at how we can connect these various components in different ways and how that changes the circuit, but for now it's just important that you know the symbols and that you know how to draw a simple circuit like the one shown here.